Hola. I want to come on with a perspective for y'all today. I was sitting here thinking about how at times in life you have to be creative in getting things done that are necessary. Everything in life is not always by the book. Everything doesn't go as planned. Everything doesn't even go the way that God plans for it to go initially. Because God works through people, and people at times allows the movement of spirit to resonate within them, or at times they impede the flow of water, the flow of spirit from moving. And God has to find another way to move, to get his will done. And I began thinking of Jacob. When you look at Jacob's life, Jacob is the second son, and it was he and his brother Esau, and Jacob came out the womb second. Esau was the firstborn, so he's the heir to the promise of that particular house. It was to be that way. That was the way of life for even till now. The firstborn male child is the heir. Yet Esau didn't honor his birthright. He took advantage of it. He felt like by default he had it. There was nothing anyone could do about it, and he could behave and live his life however he chose to behave and live his life. And getting back to Jacob, I'm going to pause on that, because Jacob is a successor to Esau. Okay, if something happens to Esau, it will be Jacob that takes the throne. But Jacob wasn't a strong, ready man like Esau. Jacob was small and frail in a sense. He was skinny, but he was smart. Esau was a field man. He was one that would wrestle with you. Esau was the type of guy that would go and wrestle with you and take your belongings. He would take your stuff. He would strong arm you. He was a trickster in a way. He was a swindler. Many say Jacob was as well, because as we will go in this conversation, I will show you by Jacob's actions why people say that of him. But Jacob is seeing the overall projection of things. He's seeing, okay, my brother is the rightful heir. Where do I fit into this? I see how my brother presents himself to the world. I see his reputation amongst men. And I know that God doesn't honor it. So Jacob goes on and he lives his life. He does as he should do. And so does Esau. Well, one day Esau gets himself in a situation, whether metaphorically or literally, where he is famished, where he is at a state where he has allowed himself to become so famished that he is at the point of dying. He's at the mercy of his brother. He should never have gotten to this place. Like, how do you get to a place where you're that hungry? You're that hungry that if you don't get soup that has no meat in it, just soup, water soup, that you will die. A soup of no substance, no meat in it. Nothing to create a digestive process in the stomach. Just water, flavored soup. And your brother offers you this flavored soup with no meat in it, and you not knowing yourself and your own needs. You don't even know the needs of yourself. You don't know that this soup will not nourish you. This soup that he's offering cannot sustain you. And at the level of hunger you're experiencing, you'd be better off drinking a cup of water. You're ignorant to yourself and your needs. You're walking blindly in the earth in power only because of what you were born into, only because of what you defaulted into. You've done nothing to empower yourself. You've only rested in the knowledge of the fact that you were the firstborn. That is what the scripture is speaking to me. You take it no further. You take no ownership. And you're careless with your own self to the point that you get so hungry. You deny yourself so much that you allow yourself to starve. And now you're at the mercy of your brother, who offers you seasoned water as nourishment, and with a clause that says, I'll give you this water, this seasoned water, this nothing, if you give me your birthright. Now, many could look at this as a joke. Jacob could have been joking with him. Jacob could have said, I've studied my brother so long, he's a foolish man. He's an idiot. He's careless, he's an idiot. And now here he comes, starving, and he wants me to feed him. Let me see if he'll take this water, this seasoned water, hot seasoned water as nourishment. Let's see if he's that ignorant to his own self and his own needs, and if he will barter that which is unbarterable, that which is precious, for this seasoned water. That could have been what he was doing. Or he could have known that his brother would go for it because he's watched his brother for so long in all of his foolish endeavors in life. And he knew that he would go for it. Either way, Jacob presents him with this opportunity, this option. And Esau takes it. He sells his birthright. And it's said in the scripture something to the point of, what is my birthright going to do for me right now anyway? I'm about to die. And he sells it to Jacob for a cup of hot, seasoned water that has no nutrient content, no meat that will get the digestive process going to sustain him. Esau drinks the seasoned water. Listen to me, y'all. He agrees. He sells Jacob his birthright. It's done. He drinks the seasoned water. Even though the water held no nutritional value, he didn't die. So it's fair to say that Esau wasn't going to die regardless. He just thought he was. He thought himself into a situation, and he panicked because he didn't know himself. He hadn't taken the time to understand his own self, nor the needs that he has in life, how his body functions, what he needs. Because had he done that, he would have known that his birthright serves more purpose, and that this hot, seasoned water is not going to do anything for him. So there's no need to make this transaction with Jacob. It was ridiculous from the beginning. He would have known it was a ridiculous request. But because he didn't know himself, y'all, he was a careless man. He was one of those people. How many people do you know born into the world with many gifts that they never even capitalize on? They never even tap into. They're born into the world in comfort. They have other people in the world that act as pillars of safety for them, that provide for them, that they don't really have to go the distance to do anything in life because of. Oh, my dad, I was born, my dad is successful. I'm going to take my dad's inheritance. It's coming to me, so I don't really care. Or my mom is going to do this for me, and so I don't really have to do anything. I'll do the minimum thing. I won't really try as hard to be successful because I don't really have to. I mean, there's no real desire there because there's no need. I don't need to be successful. I can just do the minimal thing. That was Esau. Yet Jacob was the total opposite. Jacob is the one that says, I see firsthand the benefits that lay to people like my brother Esau, but I don't have them. I got to hustle for everything I get. I have to make a way. I don't have the luxury of feeling like I have opportunities at my feet. I have to make these opportunities. I have to be on at all times. I got to be on at all times. I got to know my environment because I need to be able to capture every opportunity that comes my way. Because without them, I'm not going to have nothing. Jacob goes on. And he goes on this journey. And all of it is a discovery journey. All of it. From his experiences with Esau, taking his brother's birthright. They say he stole it. Well, how did he steal it? He did not steal it. He didn't steal it. When you read the scripture, Esau didn't steal Jacob's birthright. Jacob didn't steal Esau's birthright. Jacob posed Esau with a question that any adult could have answered. Esau put himself in a situation where he was at the brink of what he thought was life and death. He did that to himself. And he ran to his brother. Why didn't he go to his mother? Why did he run to his brother? Because his brother was a industrious individual. He knew his brother would have something for him because Jacob was always doing something. Jacob was productive. Jacob was useful. So just like most people do that are not useful or productive, Esau defaulted over to his brother Jacob because he probably always went to Jacob for stuff. Because Esau wasn't a producer. And he felt, oh my God, I don't have anything left. I'm at the brink of destruction. Help me. And Esau being the wiser and Jacob being the wiser and Esau feeling as though he was by experience. How do you believe someone is wiser than you? You believe someone is wiser than you because of experiences you've had with that person. You don't just meet someone and think that they're wiser than you. You watch that person. You interact with that person. Obviously, Esau had been someone that obviously Jacob had been one that Esau could go to and get answers from, get sustenance from, over and over again. This is brother. It's just two of them. And he believed what Jacob said. Jacob was smart, y'all. Jacob was an intellectual. Esau was a field man. So Jacob was smart intellectually. So Jacob had Esau mentally. Esau bought into Jacob because Jacob produced. He produced tangible results. Every time Esau went to Jacob for something, he could possibly get a result from it that served him. So when Esau came to Jacob and he thought he was at the brink of death, nowhere in the scripture does it say that Jacob convinced Esau that he was at the brink of death. Esau thought that on his own. And Jacob presented him with a cup of hot, seasoned water that had no vitamin content in it. No meat, no nothing, no vegetable, just water. And he barters his birthright because he felt like he was going to die. But most importantly, he bartered his birthright because he felt like it wasn't worth anything. And also he bartered his birthright because he felt like that wasn't going to make it stick. He knew the process. And the Bible doesn't speak to the process. Long story short, Jacob goes on a journey. He ends up in the house of Laban and he falls in love with Rachel. Now, I told you Jacob was smart. I said this in my Bible study about Jacob. Jacob was a master geneticist. Rachel was a geneticist also. These are shepherds. These are people that know how to multiply head count. grow the flock. Why would you say that, Michelle? Well, in order to be a shepherd and to produce back in that time, you had to be able to multiply your head count. It wasn't like you can just keep going to market and buying sheep. You buy a male sheep and a female sheep, and you need to maximize on them two sheep. You need to multiply the head count of those two sheep. And then you buy one more sheep, one more male, and mate it with your female, and you maximize on that. Period. This was how people made money. This was the currency. And whoever could get the highest reap yield of the sheep, of the maximization of whatever the head count was king and was rich and was sought out. Jacob was sought out because he knew how to maximize on the yield of head count. Just as Abram was sought out because Abram was a master astrologer. He could forecast out through planetary processions things to come. He was sought out as a consultant. That's why all these places let him in and gave him spaces. You think when he went to Egypt, and when Abram went to Egypt, that the Egyptians let him and Sarah into the area that they lived in just because they came to Egypt? Everybody didn't get that treatment, friend. They got that treatment because of what they were blessed to do through the God of Israel. Jacob was a master geneticist. When I say master geneticist, you need to think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I saw that movie last year, and it immediately took me to Jacob. Immediately. The big-headed scientist took me right to him. If that movie does not speak to Jacob, I don't know what movie does. I've not seen any other movie made that speaks to Jacob more than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Rocket the Raccoon. Watch it. Yet Jacob got tricked with Laban in the assertion of Rachel, because Laban needed Jacob. So, when you say, oh, Jacob was tricky, he used to trick his way into things, all of them were tricksters. All of them. Jacob, Esau, all of them. Jacob didn't trick Esau in the sense, Jacob maximized off of Esau's ignorance. Esau was ignorant to the plan that God had upon Esau. See, when God have a plan for you, friend, you need to be able to receive the information. You need to be able to be in alignment with God to receive it. Esau wasn't in alignment. And after he lost his birthright, he couldn't imagine himself losing the birthright. Yeah, I sold my birthright to my brother, but that's not going to make it stick. Just him selling the birthright to Jacob for that cup of soup was not enough to make it stick. What made it stick was his father speaking the words of power. We just did the Bible study on Babel. The verbs of power over Jacob, which were supposed to be over Esau. That's what made it stick. Jacob, listen, follow me. Jacob got Esau to speak the words of power over him. It was done. But Esau knew it wouldn't stick, because you would have to get my father to speak his words of power over you to make it stick. And there was no way that Esau would have could have forecasted out as far as to see the situations that would present themselves in the future that would all line up to Jacob getting the blessing from his father. Yet they did. And this is what made Esau so angry. He was furious because he lived his whole life doing the minimal thing. Whole life. I wanna find some strength in Esau. I can't find it. He lived his whole life doing the minimal thing, strong arming people, doing stuff because he could. He was strong, and he let his strength determine how successful he was. He was strong in the earth. He was strong arming people. Esau will come upon you and strong arm you out of your stuff. He didn't earn anything. He just took it. So in that sense, he was a trickster as well. He did nothing to be productive. He thought he was going to trick his brother Jacob and lie and say, yeah, I'll give you my birthright. And which he did, but he knew it wouldn't stick. But the part of the trick that he thought would make it stick turned and bit him. He got played out of it by his mother and his brother, because both of them knew they had to make an executive decision. Esau was not going to be able to reign correctly. He was not going to be able to honor the house based upon his actions that he displayed throughout his entire walk in life thus far. So Rachel decided to let that be Jacob. Make Jacob the one. And it infuriated Esau. Infuriated him. It's an interesting story. Jacob will go on to create in the world diversity. They will use the technology that they had in multiplying head count with sheep. The science, the genetic science of multiplying head count with sheep to multiplying various types of head count. And it wouldn't be only in the animal kingdom. So you see now a shift from what God was speaking to, how they were mating animals and things of that nature. You see a shift from that to other beings. Watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They were mating humans as well, creating diversity in the human race. This is all Jacob. A lot of things that we see today, our marriage ceremonies, how you have to go get a blood test, you got to go stand in front of somebody to get married. When you are a child, how when you have a baby, they take your baby and they check the blood and all of these different types of things. All of this is Jacob. All of that is Jacob. All of it. Just something for you to ponder today. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You love more than you'll ever know. We live in a very interesting world. Peace and love.